Welcome, dear friends, to a gentle journey through 140 soothing facts about Dragon Ball, that timeless universe born from the imagination of Akira Toriyama, beginning as a small adventure manga inspired by classic Chinese tales and growing into a global phenomenon of heroes, wishes, warm friendships, and cosmic wonder. Tonight, we'll drift softly through the origins of Goku's earliest designs, the quiet inspirations behind the world's most iconic transformations, the hidden details woven into the manga's pages, and the delicate threads of myth, creativity, and heart that shaped a story cherished across generations. In this gentle space, we'll wander through the legends, the artistry, and the peaceful memories behind a series that has touched the world with light, courage, and warmth. Take a slow breath in and let it melt softly into the quiet. Feel your shoulders loosen, your thoughts settling like snow on still water, your mind drifting gently into calm. There is no urgency here, only ease, softness, and rest. And if you enjoy drifting through stories like this, you're welcome to subscribe and softly tell me where you're listening from tonight. Now, allow your breath to guide you deeper into comfort as we begin with the very first facts. Fact 1. The earliest spark of Dragon Ball began as a gentle idea in Akira Toriyama's mind, an adventurous reinterpretation of the ancient Chinese tale Journey to the West. He imagined a world where wonder lived in every corner, where landscapes felt playful and bright, and where a young boy with a pure heart wandered through gentle mysteries. Toriyama wanted something simple and warm, a story shaped by quiet humor and soft imagination. In those early sketches, the world was still small, but it shimmered with possibility, waiting patiently for characters who would one day become legends. Fact 2. Before Goku ever existed as we know him, Toriyama toyed with the image of a small, monkey-tailed child, inspired loosely by Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. Yet his intention was never to recreate the myth, only to borrow its gentle spirit, the sense of curiosity, innocence, and mischief. Goku's tail, wide eyes, and kind-hearted nature all emerged from this early vision. Toriyama shaped him slowly, allowing warmth to guide the character's personality. Goku's entire essence was meant to feel comforting and pure, a figure who approached the world with openness rather than strength. Fact 3. Toriyama originally imagined Dragon Ball as a short, light-hearted adventure series, never expecting it to grow into a long-running epic. His early notes suggest a peaceful tone, filled with soft humor and simple treasure-hunting journeys rather than fierce battles. The Dragon Balls themselves were conceived as whimsical objects meant to encourage exploration, not conflict. Each idea flowed gently from Toriyama's pen, guided by curiosity rather than ambition. Even as the story expanded, the early chapters retained that tender spirit, an uncomplicated world where small discoveries carried the same magic as great adventures. Fact 4. The very first setting Toriyama envisioned was a world shaped by quiet vastness, forest clearings, winding rivers, mountaintops kissed by pale clouds, and coastal towns filled with kind-hearted strangers. This serene landscape wasn't created for wars or destruction, but for wandering. Toriyama once mentioned that he wanted readers to feel like they were traveling with Goku, experiencing gentle wonders at every turn. Many locations came from peaceful memories of rural Japan, where silence stretched tenderly across the fields. The world's stillness helped define its charm, creating an atmosphere where every new place felt inviting and safe. Fact 5: Bulma's creation emerged from Toriyama's desire to pair Goku's innocence with a character shaped by intelligence, modernity, and a different kind of strength. From her earliest sketches, she carried a spark of curiosity, guiding the story forward with cleverness and confidence. Her role wasn't meant to be loud or forceful, but quietly pivotal, a mind that illuminated the path ahead. Bulma became the gentle bridge between adventure and discovery, her inventions adding a soft wonder to the world. She helped balance Goku's simplicity with thoughtful direction, forming one of the most peaceful and iconic duos in early chapters. Fact 6: The concept of the Dragon Radar came from Toriyama's fondness for playful gadgets, tools that felt futuristic, yet simple, almost childlike in spirit. He wanted something compact, smooth, and soothing, a device that clicked softly and emitted gentle beeps as it guided characters toward mystery. The design reflected his love for creating technology that felt friendly rather than intimidating. Through this little round device, the journey gained a quiet rhythm: soft sounds, soft discoveries, softly unfolding adventure. It embodied the early tone of Dragon Ball, where exploration was calm and thoughtful rather than frantic or overwhelming. Fact 7: Master Roshi was initially conceived as a humorous, wandering hermit, someone who lived in quiet isolation on a tiny island surrounded by calm, lapping waves. Toriyama imagined him as a figure shaped by years of gentle solitude, a teacher whose wisdom flowed like soft tides rather than strict discipline. Much of Roshi's charm came from this peaceful simplicity: a steady voice, a calm presence, and a love for small comforts. His island was designed to feel like a quiet sanctuary, a place where the horizon stretched endlessly and time seemed to move more slowly and peacefully. Fact 8: The flying nimbus symbolized purity from its very first appearance. Toriyama wanted a mode of travel that felt soft, light, and almost dreamlike, something that moved through the sky without sound or effort. The cloud's gentle motion reflected Goku's spirit, allowing him to soar above the Sith world with childlike freedom. Its fluffy form and glowing colors evoked a sense of airy calm, as though the sky itself cradled him. Nimbus wasn't just transportation, it was a symbol of innocence, trust, and the quiet magic woven throughout the earliest chapters of the series. Fact 9: Toriyama often said he preferred drawing rounded shapes over sharp ones, believing that curves carried a warmer, friendlier feeling. This gentle preference shaped the visual identity of early Dragon Ball: round buildings, smooth capsules, soft clouds, and characters with expressive circular eyes. Everything felt approachable, designed to evoke comfort rather than intensity. This softness helped set the tone: bright, warm, and imaginative. Even the villains of early arcs had playful silhouettes. Toriyama's artistic choices guided readers into a world where even the unknown felt peaceful, as though every corner of the universe held gentle possibilities. Fact 10: In the earliest stages, Dragon Ball was meant to flow like a wandering journey: light steps across open landscapes, quiet friendships forming under gentle skies. Toriyama loved the idea of characters discovering the world as if walking through an unfolding dream. The story relied more on curiosity than conflict, more on wonder than urgency. These roots remained woven into the series, even as it grew louder and more dramatic. Beneath every transformation and battle, there lingers a soft echo of those simple beginnings, a reminder that Dragon Ball was born from peaceful imagination and childlike exploration. Fact 11. Toriyama drew much of his inspiration for Dragon Ball from classic martial arts films, which he loved watching as a child. He found something peaceful in their simplicity, the slow buildup of tension before the fight. His early vision was filled with peaceful, rhythmic action, movements that flowed naturally rather than feeling forced. In these films, the heroes were often humble and driven by inner peace, which resonated deeply with Goku's character. Toriyama sought to blend this tranquility into the heart of the story, creating a world where strength came from quiet discipline and heart. Fact 12. One of Toriyama's major influences was Journey to the West, the ancient Chinese tale of the Monkey King. While Goku's origins were inspired by this mischievous, magical figure, Toriyama's interpretation was gentler, more playful. The original journey was filled with peril and adventure, but Toriyama's world was one where adventure was wrapped in softness, like a child's first step into a larger world. The connection to Sun Wukong is subtle, with Goku embodying the same spirit of exploration, but with a focus on innocence and wonder rather than mischief. Fact 13. Toriyama's own childhood shaped much of the warmth in Dragon Ball. Growing up in the rural areas of Japan, he was surrounded by nature, green fields, rivers, and forests that filled him with a peaceful, introspective energy. Many of the places in Dragon Ball carry the same serenity, from the soft rolling hills of the early world to the quiet corners of Master Roshi's island. His memories of childhood walks among the trees, breathing in the cool air, deeply influenced his design of a world that always felt grounded in peaceful harmony. Fact 14. A love for Dr. Slump, Toriyama's previous manga series, helped shape the lighthearted humor found in Dragon Ball. Dr. Slump had a tone filled with warmth, laughter, and whimsy, which Toriyama wanted to carry over. In this series, he explored gentle, quirky interactions, and it was through this lens of playful, joyful absurdity that the groundwork for Dragon Ball's first arcs was formed. The humor in Dragon Ball came from characters interacting with the world in ways that were odd yet comforting, with a soft-hearted silliness that never felt harsh. Fact 15. Toriyama's preference for simplicity in storytelling was rooted in his desire to make Dragon Ball feel easy to follow and calming. He believed that overcomplicating the narrative would detract from the natural flow of the story. This is why many of the earlier arcs focused on straightforward quests or friendly competitions. The simplicity of the storytelling, paired with peaceful world building, created a sense of effortless immersion. Toriyama's approach made it possible for fans to sink into the world without the weight of overly complex plots, allowing them to feel comfortable and relaxed. Fact 16. While Dragon Ball grew into an epic adventure, Toriyama's early sketches remained deeply influenced by traditional Japanese art and calligraphy. He drew inspiration from the gentle, fluid brushstrokes seen in classical paintings. This influence can be seen in the smooth lines of his characters and landscapes, where everything feels alive with the soft flow of ink. The grace in his work came from a love of organic movement, making even the most dramatic moments feel grounded in natural beauty. The soft, curving strokes reflected the world's peaceful spirit, gently shaping everything in its path. Fact 17. Toriyama has mentioned in interviews that his biggest inspiration was nature itself. The calm and rhythm of the changing seasons, the way light shifted through the trees, the tranquil flow of rivers, all of this was reflected in Dragon Ball. When creating the characters, he sought to capture the quiet strength of nature, the way a mountain stands firm or a river gently carves through the earth. The natural world became the ultimate reference point for Toriyama, a place where balance was key and everything had its proper place within a greater harmony. Fact 18. Toriyama also admired the work of Osamu Tezuka, the legendary manga artist who created Astro Boy. Tezuka's work helped shape manga as an art form, and his gentle storytelling influenced Toriyama's own approach. In Tezuka's work, even the most dramatic moments were tempered by soft, meditative pauses. This allowed Toriyama to adopt a more balanced approach to his own stories, where moments of action were often followed by stillness. These quiet spaces allowed characters to grow, reflect, and evolve at a natural pace, reflecting Toriyama's belief in the importance of balance and calm. Fact 19. In the early days of Dragon Ball, Toriyama often sought to create characters who were both strong and relatable. He didn't want them to appear too perfect or overpowered, but rather, he wanted their growth to feel grounded in effort and determination. This desire to create balance within characters stems from his own appreciation for modesty. He never wanted anyone to feel unattainable or beyond reach. Goku, despite his strength, was humble, kind hearted, and not driven by power. This warmth in his character made him endlessly endearing, reflecting Toriyama's own belief in quiet strength. Fact 20. Toriyama's focus on visual storytelling also drew from his love for silent cinema. He was particularly drawn to the works of Charlie Chaplin, whose films conveyed so much emotion without words. This influence can be seen in Dragon Ball through the expressive body language of its characters. The most powerful moments in the series often rely not on words, but on the silent exchange of emotions through movement, whether Goku's peaceful determination or Vegeta's subtle inner struggles. This form of quiet storytelling helps draw viewers into the emotional core of the narrative, inviting reflection. Fact 21. In the early days of Dragon Ball, Toriyama used a very specific technique to ensure that each panel flowed smoothly into the next. He believed in keeping the story visually simple, yet impactful, focusing on clear lines and shapes that made every action feel natural. This attention to visual rhythm became a hallmark of his style, where characters moved through the world as though gliding along a soft current. Each page felt like a gentle dance, unfolding without hurry, inviting readers to pause, appreciate, and breathe in the subtle beauty of every line. Fact 22. Toriyama's use of character design was always grounded in simplicity and emotion. Early on, he chose to give his characters distinct and easily recognizable features that were not overly detailed. This choice made the characters feel approachable and familiar, even in their most fantastical forms. Goku's round face, Bulma's bright blue hair, and Master Roshi's small wise eyes all carried a sense of warmth. These design choices made Dragon Ball feel like a world of endless possibilities, where even the most bizarre creatures felt comforting and full of gentle wonder. Fact 23. In the Dragon Ball universe, Toriyama often included subtle references to his previous work, Dr. Slump. Characters like Arale-chan from Dr. Slump would make brief appearances in the early Dragon Ball chapters, allowing fans to see the gentle overlap between Toriyama's two worlds. These small, hidden nods created a sense of continuity, as if Dragon Ball itself was a part of a larger, interconnected universe. For fans who had followed his earlier series, these appearances added an extra layer of warmth and familiarity to the world Goku and his friends inhabited. Fact 24. Despite Dragon Ball becoming a long running saga, Toriyama's early plans were much shorter and simpler. He originally intended the story to conclude with the quest for the Dragon Balls, but as Goku's character and the world around him grew, Toriyama's vision expanded. This shift was not something planned from the beginning. Rather, it unfolded organically as the characters' stories deepened and the world expanded. Toriyama has often mentioned that his early work was guided by instinct and curiosity, with each new idea gently leading him to the next, like a slow flowing river. Fact 25. The Dragon Ball logo, with its simple yet bold design, was chosen to reflect the series' focus on adventure and exploration. Toriyama opted for a clean, circular symbol to mirror the shape of the Dragon Balls themselves. This understated choice echoed the core themes of Dragon Ball: simplicity, warmth, and the promise of discovery. The logo's design was meant to be instantly recognizable, a quiet promise of the journeys and friendships that awaited within the pages of the manga, a reminder that the greatest adventures are often born from humble beginnings. Fact 26. When Toriyama first created Goku's signature GE, he kept the design minimalistic, choosing only the colors orange and blue to reflect simplicity and warmth. The GE's design was practical, allowing Goku to move freely during his adventures, but also symbolic, representing the balance of strength and humility that was central to his character. The simplicity of Goku's outfit reflected Toriyama's desire to keep the story grounded despite the growing scale of the battles and the increasingly fantastical elements. It was a gentle reminder that the heart of the story remained pure and uncomplicated. Fact 27. Dragon Ball's early arcs were heavily inspired by the quiet beauty of nature. Toriyama often drew from the landscapes around him, including lush forests, vast deserts, and tranquil mountains. These natural settings were never just backdrops, they were characters in their own right, as much a part of the story as Goku or Bulma. The serene environments created a peaceful contrast to the growing intensity of the battles, reminding readers that even in the midst of conflict, there is always a calm place to return to, a quiet reminder of nature's enduring peace. Fact 28. In early drafts, the Dragon Balls themselves had different designs than the ones we know today. They were originally drawn with a simpler, almost ethereal look, with softer lines and fewer details. Toriyama wanted them to feel like mystical objects, imbued with gentle magic. Over time, as the story grew more complex, the Dragon Balls became more distinct, with their golden sheen and star filled interiors becoming iconic symbols of hope, dreams, and wishful thinking. Yet their original, softer design remains a testament to Toriyama's early approach, a desire to create wonder without excess. Fact 29. The concept of Kamehameha, Goku's signature move, was inspired by a traditional Hawaiian martial arts technique. However, Toriyama reimagined it as a gentle burst of energy that felt more spiritual than combative. The Kamehameha wave represented the connection between the fighter and the universe, a wave of energy flowing as naturally as the air around them. This move was never about pure strength, it was about harmony and balance, a perfect reflection of Goku's personality: peaceful, humble, but capable of great power when needed. The Kamehameha was not just a technique, it was a symbolic expression of inner peace. Fact 30: Toriyama's relationship with his readers was always one of mutual respect and warmth. Early on, he created a fan mail section in Dragon Ball to directly connect with the people who loved his work. His responses to fans were always gentle and thoughtful, reflecting his understanding of the intimate connection between creator and audience. Toriyama understood that his readers were not just spectators, they were part of the story, as involved and invested in the character's growth as he was. This shared bond created an atmosphere of warmth where the world of Dragon Ball felt like a place for everyone. Fact 31: Goku's early design was intentionally simple, reflecting his innocent, childlike nature. His broad, open smile, round eyes, and untamed hair all embodied his free spirited personality. Toriyama envisioned Goku as a character who would grow not just in strength, but in emotional depth. His evolution from a naive boy to a wise and powerful hero mirrors the journey of innocence into experience. Every battle, every challenge faced, became a quiet step toward understanding the world and his place in it, showing that even the strongest warriors start from a place of pure hearted simplicity. Fact 32: In the beginning, Goku had little understanding of emotions like anger or sadness. He was motivated by curiosity and a sense of adventure rather than any deep desire for victory. Toriyama wanted Goku's growth to be gradual, allowing him to develop compassion and a sense of responsibility over time. His early naivety made him a character who was easy to relate to. His kindness and honesty reflected a gentleness that didn't need to be forced. Goku's journey became one of emotional maturity, where every encounter taught him a little more about love, loss, and the bonds of friendship. Fact 33: Goku's training with Master Roshi was not just physical, it marked the beginning of his emotional development. Roshi, with his calm demeanor and subtle wisdom, guided Goku to understand that true strength comes from self control and inner peace. Early on, Goku viewed strength as a means to protect others, but through Roshi's lessons, he learned that strength without compassion was hollow. The bond between Goku and his master was a quiet one, based not on grand speeches, but on small, reflective moments, teaching Goku that a warrior's heart must remain humble even in battle. Fact 34: Goku's transformation into a Super Saiyan was a pivotal moment in his character arc, one that reflected his deepening emotional complexity. Though the event was sparked by rage, it was also an expression of his love for his friends and his unyielding resolve to protect them. This transformation marked the first time Goku fully embraced the gravity of his power and the responsibilities that came with it. His evolution from innocent boy to powerful hero culminated in this moment, where his strength was no longer just a gift, but a burden that demanded inner balance and reflection. Fact 35: Despite his growing power, Goku has always retained a sense of childlike wonder, which keeps him grounded. He never loses his curiosity about the world, and his love for simple pleasures, like eating, playing, and learning, remains a central part of his character. Toriyama designed Goku to be a hero who doesn't take himself too seriously, always staying humble despite his strength. This childlike innocence, paired with his increasing wisdom, allowed Goku to remain relatable, even as he grew into one of the universe's most powerful warriors. His purity of heart was his constant guide. Fact 36: Goku's relationship with his family is a quiet one, shaped by his deep love and respect for those closest to him. Unlike many other heroes, Goku doesn't chase after personal glory or recognition. Instead, his primary motivation has always been to protect those he loves. His devotion to his friends and family, though often shown through action rather than words, speaks volumes about his character. Even as his power increased, Goku's connection to his loved ones remained his true source of strength, reminding him that his greatest battles were not fought alone. Fact 37. In contrast to many traditional heroes, Goku's journey was never about seeking revenge or hatred. Instead, he learned that true strength lies in forgiveness and understanding. His encounters with former enemies, such as Vegeta and Piccolo, revealed Goku's ability to see beyond someone's past mistakes. He believed that anyone, no matter their history, had the potential to change. His empathy toward others helped him form bonds that transcended rivalry, showing that kindness and openness could transform even the most hardened hearts, like Vegeta's, into something much more powerful: friendship and mutual respect. Fact 38. Toriyama's portrayal of Goku's innocence and joy was a deliberate attempt to contrast the increasing scale of the battles around him. While the universe around him grew darker and more intense, Goku's nature remained untarnished. His laughter, his childlike curiosity, and his love of adventure were constant reminders that even in a world filled with powerful enemies and cosmic threats, joy could still be found in the simplest of things. Goku's enduring positivity became a beacon of hope for others, showing that strength wasn't just about power, but also about the ability to find happiness in all moments. Fact 39. As Goku matured, so did his ability to understand the concept of sacrifice. Early in his life, Goku viewed the world in simple terms: right and wrong, good and bad. But as his adventures continued, he was faced with moments where the cost of protecting others became personal. These moments of sacrifice, whether it was risking his life for his friends or losing loved ones, helped Goku grow emotionally. He learned that true heroes don't just protect others, they are willing to give of themselves, even if it means enduring pain or loss. His growth was marked by these quiet, reflective moments. Fact 40. The subtle changes in Goku's character over the years reflected his growth as a person. From the innocent, adventurous boy who first met Bulma to the experienced, emotionally mature hero who faced the toughest battles in the universe, Goku's evolution was always tied to his inner self. He never lost sight of the values he held dear: compassion, loyalty, and humility. Even as his powers grew, Goku's spirit remained gentle, a quiet reminder that true strength comes not from one's ability to fight, but from the ability to stay true to one's heart. Fact 41. The Saiyans were originally depicted as a fierce warrior race, with little regard for life or peace. Yet over time, Toriyama softened their narrative, adding layers of complexity to their history. The Saiyans were not just warriors, they were survivors, whose very existence was intertwined with the delicate balance of life and death. This shift in their portrayal allowed for a deeper emotional connection, especially with characters like Vegeta and Goku. The Saiyan lore became more than just battles. It was about understanding identity, legacy, and what it means to evolve beyond one's past. Fact 42. Vegeta, the proud prince of the Saiyan race, was shaped by the tragic loss of his people. His pride, born from the destruction of his home, was at once a shield and a burden. Toriyama took care to explore Vegeta's internal struggle, showing that even the mightiest of warriors can be broken by loss. Despite his ruthless beginnings, Vegeta's evolution was one of growth, learning to trust, love, and find peace. His arc stands as a testament to the quiet power of redemption, where even the most hardened hearts can soften over time. Fact 43. The destruction of planet Vegeta, home of the Saiyan people, was a pivotal moment in the series' lore, though its impact was often felt through quieter moments rather than grand speeches. The event shaped Goku and Vegeta's lives in profound ways, pushing them to grow beyond their origins. For Goku, it created a sense of detachment from his Saiyan heritage. He had no memory of his people or planet. For Vegeta, the loss fueled his rage, but it also became the catalyst for his transformation, leading him to find a sense of belonging in a family that wasn't of his blood. Fact 44. The Super Saiyan transformation, a legendary event in Saiyan history, was originally meant to be an elusive, almost mythical concept. When Goku first reached this form, it was not only a representation of his physical power, but also of the quiet intensity of his emotions. The transformation marked a pivotal moment in Goku's journey, where inner strength, emotional pain, and the desire to protect his loved ones merged. It showed that the greatest power doesn't always come from brute force, but from the depth of one's heart and the strength to overcome despair. Fact 45. The Saiyan bloodline carried a deep connection to the stars, their power often linked to the cosmos. Toriyama symbolized this through their connection to the great ape form, a transformation that allowed them to tap into primal strength, but at the cost of losing their humanity. The full moon was a constant symbol of their potential for greatness, but it also carried an ominous weight, representing the wild, untamable force inside them. The great ape form was a reminder that true power, for the Saiyans, was always at risk of becoming uncontrollable if not kept in balance. Fact 46. Saiyan history was laced with tales of conflict and conquest. The Saiyan race, in its early years, was known for its warrior-like nature and insatiable thirst for battle. But as Toriyama fleshed out their story, he added layers of complexity to their background. He explored the idea that the Saiyans were more than just aggressors. They were a race of survivors, shaped by the struggles they endured. This shift in their portrayal gave the Saiyans a tragic depth, strength without purpose, and power without meaning, until characters like Goku and Vegeta began to redefine what it meant to be a Saiyan. Fact 47. The legend of the Super Saiyan God was a quiet and mysterious tale passed down through generations. This transformation was rumored to be the highest form of Saiyan power, but it was shrouded in myth and uncertainty. Toriyama weaved this legend into the story as a reminder that, even in the most developed of races, there are still mysteries to uncover. The Super Saiyan God's power was not just a leap in strength, but an evolution of the Saiyan spirit, one that required a deep understanding of self, unity, and the interconnectedness of life. Fact 48. The bond between Goku and Vegeta, two of the strongest Saiyans, was never just about rivalry or competition. It was about understanding. Both characters came from different backgrounds, yet their shared history as Saiyans gave them a unique connection. Through their battles, their friendship slowly blossomed, transforming from one of mutual respect to a deep, unspoken camaraderie. Vegeta's path was shaped by pride and loss, while Goku's was shaped by humility and innocence. Yet together, they represented the duality of the Saiyan spirit: strength tempered by heart, and power balanced by understanding. Fact 49. The transformation into Super Saiyan Blue was a turning point in the evolution of Saiyan lore. This new form blended the power of Super Saiyan God with the physicality of Super Saiyan, creating a state that reflected a more balanced, controlled approach to power. It symbolized the Saiyans' journey from reckless warriors to disciplined fighters, having learned to master their emotions and their strength. The blue form became a quiet reminder that growth comes not just from power, but from the peace that comes with mastering one's inner turmoil, a lesson the Saiyans had learned over time. Fact 50. The Saiyan tail, a key feature of their early designs, was a symbol of their primal roots. It represented their connection to their wild, untamed nature. However, as the series progressed, the tail became less of a physical feature and more of a symbolic one, representing the journey from raw, unrestrained power to controlled strength. Toriyama gradually phased out the tail, signifying that the Saiyans, particularly Goku and Vegeta, were evolving beyond their primitive origins. The tail, once a source of power, became a reminder of their growth and how they had learned to control their wildest instincts. Fact 51. The earliest concept of Goku's Super Saiyan transformation was much simpler than the final version. Toriyama originally imagined a quiet, almost serene shift in energy rather than the explosive form it became. He wanted the moment to feel like a deep emotional awakening, an inner light rising gently from within. Over time, the visual design changed, but the emotional core stayed, a heart pushed beyond its limit, finally revealing the strength hidden beneath sorrow. The transformation's golden aura became a symbol of hope, a warm glow breaking through the darkness to remind viewers of resilience and inner light. Fact 52. Super Saiyan 2 was created to represent a more refined, concentrated form of power, something sharp yet still gentle in its essence. Toriyama envisioned the transformation as a quiet intensification rather than a dramatic leap. The crackling aura symbolized energy that was no longer wild, but focused, like a storm held softly in balance. Gohan's first transformation in this form mirrored emotional growth, not rage. It was the moment he stepped into his own identity, touched by sorrow, yet guided by a quiet determination. Super Saiyan 2 became a representation of strength, shaped by clarity and inner awakening. Fact 53. Super Saiyan 3 emerged from Toriyama's desire to push the boundaries of design, creating a form that felt otherworldly and ethereal. The long, flowing hair and softened brows made Goku's face appear almost serene, as if touched by something ancient. While the transformation was incredibly powerful, its essence remained spiritual, a state achieved through intense focus and sacrifice. Toriyama often described this form as one that balanced immense strength with gentle restraint, embodying the idea that power is meaningful only when approached with calm intention. The form's quiet, haunting aura added to its dreamlike presence in the series. Fact 54. The transformation into Super Saiyan God marked a shift in how Saiyan power was portrayed, a move towards spiritual harmony rather than raw strength. Toriyama designed the form to feel peaceful, almost weightless, with slimmer features and a calm, flickering aura. He wanted the transformation to mirror an inner stillness, a moment where power flowed like a quiet river instead of a roaring storm. This form symbolized unity and connection, achievable only through the support of others. Its gentle red glow represented warmth, life, and balance, reminding viewers that true strength often comes from collective harmony and inner peace. Fact 55: Super Saiyan Blue combined the divine serenity of Super Saiyan God with the physical intensity of Super Saiyan. Toriyama created this form to represent complete emotional mastery, a state where power and calm existed in perfect harmony. The cool blue aura was chosen to convey tranquility, like moonlight settling over still water. It symbolized clarity of mind, strength channeled through composure rather than aggression. This transformation marked a new stage in Goku and Vegeta's growth, reflecting their ability to control their inner storms and channel their power through focus, discipline, and a gentle, unwavering spirit. Fact 56: Ultra Instinct originated from Toriyama's fascination with martial arts philosophies, particularly the concept of acting without thought. He envisioned a form where the fighter's mind became completely still, allowing the body to move freely as if guided by instinct alone. This state wasn't about overwhelming strength, but perfect flow, movements as gentle as drifting leaves, yet as precise as starlight. The transformation captured the essence of quiet mastery, where emotion, fear, and doubt fell away. Ultra Instinct's soft silver glow reflected its dreamlike purity, symbolizing the ultimate calm that lies at the heart of true martial skill. Fact 57: Vegeta's transformation into Super Saiyan Blue evolved showcased his unique path of growth, one shaped by determination and introspection. Unlike Goku, whose transformations often came through moments of emotional release, Vegeta reached this form through silent resolve. Toriyama envisioned this evolution as a deepening of Vegeta's understanding of himself, a quiet strengthening of the bonds he held dear. The transformation's darker, stronger aura represented his willingness to push through inner barriers while remaining grounded. It was a moment of self acceptance, reflecting the beauty of growth born not from rage, but from steadfast commitment and heartfelt purpose. To 58. The great ape transformation, though primal and destructive, carried a soft symbolism beneath its surface. For Toriyama, it represented the raw, unshaped power that lies within everyone, the part of the self that remains wild and unrefined. Though chaotic, the form reminded characters of their origins and their deeply rooted connection to nature. The great ape's towering presence stood as a metaphor for emotions that can grow too large to control unless balanced through understanding. Its power was immense, but its message was gentle. True growth comes from embracing every part of oneself, even the untamed shadows. Fact 59. The introduction of fusion was Toriyama's way of exploring the beauty of cooperation and unity. By combining two warriors into one, he symbolized how harmony between individuals creates a strength far greater than what either could achieve alone. Fusion wasn't meant to be flashy or overwhelming. It represented balance, shared purpose, and mutual trust. Whether playful like Gotenks or steady like Vegito, each fusion embodied the gentle truth that connection brings growth. Through fusion, Toriyama showed that strength can be found not only within oneself, but also in the quiet power of partnership, understanding, and shared spirit. Fact 60: The calm golden aura of the original Super Saiyan form was chosen with great care to evoke warmth rather than aggression. Toriyama wanted the transformation to feel like a flame, bright, powerful, but gently illuminating, not destructive. The shimmering hair, Glowing eyes and radiant energy combined to create an image that felt hopeful, almost comforting. Even though the form emerged during intense emotional turmoil, its final expression symbolized a quiet awakening where inner potential rises softly into view. The golden glow became one of the most iconic visuals in anime history, representing courage, love, and the gentle spark of transformation. Fact 61. The Z Fighters were more than just warriors. They were a family, built on trust, sacrifice, and shared history. Though each member came from different backgrounds, their bond was forged in the heat of battle and tempered by deep loyalty. Toriyama designed them to reflect a variety of strengths and weaknesses, showing that true power comes not from individual greatness, but from unity. Each Z fighter, whether calm like Piccolo or energetic like Krillin, represented a different aspect of human nature, with their personal journeys unfolding in quiet ways, reflecting both growth and acceptance. Fact 62. Piccolo's evolution was one of the most gradual yet profound in the series. Originally a villain, his transformation into one of Goku's closest allies was built on a foundation of personal reflection and quiet change. Piccolo was a character defined by solitude and inner struggle, and Toriyama used his journey to explore the themes of redemption and self improvement. Through his bond with Gohan, Piccolo learned the power of connection, allowing his previously cold and calculating nature to soften into something more compassionate. His story was one of finding peace within himself as through others. Fact 63. Krillin, often seen as the most human of the Z fighters, had a journey marked by emotional vulnerability and courage. Though he was not as powerful as the others, Krillin's quiet strength lay in his unwavering determination and deep loyalty to his friends. His bravery was never defined by brute force, but by his willingness to stand up for what was right, no matter the odds. Krillin's sacrifices, both physical and emotional, reflected Toriyama's belief that heroism comes in many forms, and that true strength lies in one's heart, not just one's power. Fact 64. The bond between Goku and Gohan became one of the most heartfelt relationships in the series. Toriyama designed Gohan to be Goku's emotional counterpart, a son who reflected his father's innocence, but with a deeper intellectual curiosity. Unlike Goku, Gohan's strength wasn't solely defined by his physical prowess, but by his inner peace and ability to think carefully about his actions. Goku's guidance shaped Gohan's journey, teaching him the balance between strength and compassion. Gohan's story was a quiet exploration of what it means to carry the weight of expectations while remaining true to oneself. Fact 65. Yamcha's role in the Z Fighters group was often understated, yet his growth was quietly significant. From a lone wolf to a dependable ally, Yamcha's journey mirrored the themes of perseverance and personal growth. Despite often being outclassed in power, his resilience and spirit remained a constant presence in the team. Toriyama used Yamcha's arc to show that heroism doesn't always come in the form of grand victories, but in the small moments of courage and loyalty that bind friends together. Yamcha's story was about finding one's place in the world, no matter the odds. Fact 66. Tien Shinhan's development was driven by his quest for self-mastery and understanding his place within the world. As a former student of the Crane School, Tien started his journey filled with pride and arrogance. However, through his bond with the Z Fighters, he began to understand the deeper meaning of strength, not just physical, but emotional and spiritual. Tien's journey was quiet and introspective, marked by his commitment to both his training and his friends. His story explored the concept of balance, learning that true strength comes from humility, compassion, and the willingness to change. Fact 67. Chiao Tzu, despite his small stature, was a character defined by immense loyalty and bravery. His bond with Tien was one of the most touching in the series, built on mutual respect and understanding. Chiao Tzu's courage often went unnoticed, as he was not as powerful as the other Z fighters, but his willingness to stand by his friends, no matter the cost, spoke volumes about his heart. Toriyama used Chiotsu's quiet strength to remind viewers that the most powerful heroes are sometimes the ones who fight, not for glory, but for the love and protection of those they care about. Fact 68. Goku's rivalry with Vegeta was more than just a battle for supremacy. It was a journey of emotional growth for both characters. Vegeta, with his pride and intense desire to surpass Goku, initially saw him as nothing more than a stepping stone. However, over time, their rivalry deepened into a complex relationship of mutual respect. Goku's ability to embrace his weaknesses and stay humble contrasted with Vegeta's internal struggle, but it was this contrast that helped Vegeta evolve. Their bond, forged in rivalry, was built on quiet recognition of each other's strengths and flaws, ultimately leading to a deep, unspoken friendship. Fact 69. Goku's influence on the Z Fighters was never about commanding them to fight, but about showing them the power of heart. His leadership was quiet, often unspoken, but always clear in his actions. Goku's pure-heartedness inspired those around him to be better, to push beyond their limits, and to act out of love and compassion. His leadership was grounded in his willingness to be vulnerable, to learn, and to never stop growing. Goku's strength came not from telling others what to do, but from quietly leading by example, showing that true leaders inspire through their actions. Fact 70. The Z Fighters' unity was never based on their physical power, but on their shared purpose and understanding. As they faced increasingly impossible challenges, their bonds deepened, not just through battle, but through quiet moments of trust and mutual respect. Toriyama emphasized that the Z Fighters were a team, not because of their strength, but because of their ability to work together, support one another, and grow as individuals. Their story was a testament to the idea that true strength is found in unity, and that even the most unlikely heroes can become powerful through love and friendship. Fact 71. The villains of Dragon Ball were never just antagonists. They were characters shaped by their pasts, with motives that often came from a place of pain or longing. Toriyama designed them with depth, showing that even the darkest figures had stories of their own. The first major villain, Emperor Pilaf, wasn't meant to be a terrifying monster, but a petty, whimsical figure whose ambitions were driven by insecurity and a desire for control. Pilaf's story was a reflection of how fear and desire could turn even the smallest being into something far more dangerous than intended. Fact 72. The introduction of the Red Ribbon Army brought a more sinister type of villainy to Dragon Ball, yet even they had their own complexities. While their goal was world domination, Toriyama subtly infused their story with a zestful sense of lost purpose. Characters like General Blue and Commander Red were never portrayed as purely evil, but as individuals whose desires led them down darker paths. Their actions were driven by an obsession with power and control, yet beneath that exterior, their motivations reflected deeper issues of insecurity and a desire to prove their worth to the world. Fact 73. Frieza, perhaps the most iconic villain in Dragon Ball, was initially conceived as a cruel and tyrannical being with no deeper motivation. However, over time, Toriyama fleshed out Frieza's story, making him a complex figure driven by fear and a fragile sense of superiority. Frieza's cruelty was a mask for his deep insecurities, and his obsession with power stemmed from an internal weakness he was too proud to acknowledge. His connection to the Saiyan race and his eventual downfall reflected Toriyama's exploration of how power can corrupt and how even the strongest are vulnerable to their own fears. Fact 74. Cell's origins were rooted in Toriyama's interest in biological science, and he was originally conceived as a character whose perfection came at a terrible cost. Cell was designed as an artificial being, a genetic amalgamation of the universe's greatest warriors, and his evolution mirrored the idea of progress at the expense of humanity. Toriyama used Cell to explore themes of identity and self-worth, as Cell was constantly striving for a perfect form, unaware that true perfection was impossible. His ultimate defeat was symbolic of the danger in seeking absolute power without understanding the importance of inner peace. Fact 75. Majin Buu, one of Dragon Ball's most chaotic and unpredictable villains, was born from the desire to create a being who could embody pure destruction. However, Toriyama took care to show that even Buu had layers. His childlike innocence and unpredictable nature made him far more than just an embodiment of evil. Toriyama's portrayal of Buu explored the idea that destruction is not always calculated or intentional. Sometimes it is the result of a misunderstood or misdirected force. Buu's eventual redemption arc showed that even the most destructive forces could be tempered by understanding and compassion. Fact 76. Vegeta, the proud Saiyan prince, started as one of Dragon Ball's fiercest antagonists. His pride and bitterness towards the universe made him a dangerous force, but Toriyama was careful to show that Vegeta's villainy stemmed from deep emotional scars. Vegeta's pride was tied to the destruction of his home planet and the loss of his people, and this fueled his relentless desire to surpass Goku. Over time, Vegeta's story shifted from one of pure rivalry to one of redemption, as he came to understand that true strength came not from dominating others, but from understanding and humility. Fact 77. The story of the Saiyans was deeply tied to the concept of inherited power, and Vegeta's legacy as the Prince of a destroyed race added layers of complexity to his character. His pride was rooted in his royal bloodline, yet his constant struggle with Goku highlighted his deeper fear of being weak and insignificant. Vegeta's rivalry with Goku was never just about proving superiority. It was about grappling with his own sense of identity. Toriyama used Vegeta's journey to explore the themes of legacy, loss, and the desire to forge one's own path, free from the weight of the past. Fact 78. Frieza's relationship with his own army was one of detachment and cruelty. He ruled through fear, showing little to no regard for the lives of his subordinates. This cold, calculated leadership style reflected Frieza's belief that power could be maintained through fear and control alone. However, his eventual downfall revealed the truth of his leadership, that even the most formidable figures are vulnerable when their power is built on a foundation of isolation and cruelty. Toriyama's portrayal of Frieza's rule was a commentary on the limitations of absolute control and how true strength requires empathy and connection. Fact 79. King Piccolo, one of the earliest Dragon Ball villains, was designed to be a reflection of the darker side of Goku's own nature. Piccolo's ambition was rooted in a desire to dominate the world, yet his story was built around the theme of internal struggle. Toriyama used Piccolo's existence to explore the idea of corruption, the notion that power, when unchecked, can lead to darkness. However, through his eventual transformation and connection with Goku's son, Piccolo was given the chance to evolve. His journey from villain to ally was a poignant exploration of the power of change and redemption. Fact 80. Dr. Gero, the scientist behind the creation of the androids, was motivated by a desire for vengeance against Goku and the Z Fighters. His obsession with creating the perfect warrior led to the creation of powerful androids and ultimately to Cell's existence. Toriyama portrayed Dr. Gero as a man consumed by pride, ambition, and a desire for revenge. His character arc highlighted the dangers of obsession, how the pursuit of personal gain and retribution can lead to one's undoing. In Dr. Gero's story, Toriyama explored the consequences of letting ambition define one's purpose, ultimately leading to self-destruction. Fact 81. The concept of the Dragon Balls was inspired by ancient mythological relics where a simple object held immense power, capable of fulfilling great wishes. Toriyama envisioned them as mystical, glowing orbs with the power to bring dreams to life, but with an underlying cost. The Dragon Balls were meant to be objects of both wonder and caution, reminding viewers that even the greatest desires must be handled with care. The gentle but profound nature of the Dragon Balls reflected the balance between hope and the responsibility that comes with having the power to alter reality. Fact 82. Shenron, the eternal dragon who grants wishes, was designed to evoke a sense of awe and reverence. With his long, flowing body and glowing eyes, Shenron was not just a magical creature, but a symbol of hope, power, and the untold possibilities that lay within the Dragon Balls. Toriyama wanted Shenron to feel both grand and ethereal, an otherworldly being who existed between the realms of fantasy and reality. When Shenron appeared, his calm and majestic presence reminded everyone that the true value of a wish was not in its outcome, but in its potential for change. Fact 83. The Dragon Balls were modeled after the mystical seven lucky gods, a prominent figure in Japanese folklore. Each Dragon Ball, with its distinct number of stars, was tied to an ancient belief in luck and fortune. Toriyama infused the story with this sense of mysticism, where the orbs were both coveted and feared. The pursuit of the Dragon Balls, while often thrilling, was also a journey into the unknown, filled with both joyous discovery and the occasional harsh lesson. They represented the age-old concept that not all wishes come without their own quiet burdens. Fact 84. The gathering of the Dragon Balls became a ritual of sorts, with each new quest bringing characters closer together and teaching them the value of friendship and trust. Toriyama's approach to the Dragon Balls was never just about the wishes they granted, but about the shared experiences they created. These journeys were about more than just finding the orbs. They were about discovering deeper truths, both about the world and about themselves. Each time the Dragon Balls were summoned, they represented not just a quest for power, but a quiet, personal transformation for each character involved. Fact 85: the decision to have the Dragon Balls as scattered across the world added an element of adventure and discovery to the series. Each location where a Dragon Ball was hidden represented a unique challenge, often drawing on nature and ancient symbols. Toriyama used the locations to reflect different aspects of the human experience, with some quests requiring intellectual effort and others demanding physical endurance. The vast, varied landscapes that Goku and his friends traversed were symbolic of the inner journeys they undertook as they grew, both as individuals and as a team, facing trials that reflected their innermost struggles. Fact 86: Shenron's ability to grant any wish within certain limits reflected the ancient myth of the wish granting dragon that appears in many cultures, offering blessings, boons, or warnings. However, Toriyama added a layer of complexity to this trope, making the wish process less straightforward. The wishes granted by Shenron often came with unexpected consequences, reminding the characters that wishes were not simple solutions to their problems. This added depth to the concept, showing that even the most powerful forces in the universe were not without their own limitations, encouraging both characters and viewers to reflect on the nature of desire. Fact 87: the idea of collecting the Dragon Balls was inspired by the real world concept of the Seven Treasures, a collection of sacred items in many mythologies. These treasures were often symbolic of balance, power, and the divine. Toriyama's use of seven balls, each representing a different aspect of the world, and the journey to obtain them, was a nod to this mythological tradition. However, in Dragon Ball, these treasures were not simply magical artifacts, they were catalysts for growth, teaching the characters important lessons about themselves, their relationships, and the price of their desires. Fact 88: the design of the Dragon Balls was heavily influenced by the idea of balance, with the stars representing different virtues or qualities. The number of stars on each Dragon Ball was not random. It held significance, reflecting a deeper connection between the orbs and the universe they governed. Toriyama's choice to give each ball a unique number helped to create a sense of order and mystery. The Dragon Balls were not just random objects, but part of a larger interconnected system, a subtle reminder that even in a world of chaos, there is an underlying harmony. Fact 89: Toriyama incorporated the Dragon Balls into Dragon Ball Z to explore themes of resurrection and the second chances that life can offer. When characters died and were resurrected by the Dragon Balls, it was never a simple return to life, but a profound journey of self discovery. The Dragon Balls offered more than just physical revival. They gave characters the opportunity to reflect on their past actions and find new purpose. Through these moments of rebirth, Toriyama explored the delicate nature of life, death, and the quiet power of renewal, where even the smallest change can have lasting effects. Fact 90: the final wish granted by the Dragon Balls, often seen as the ultimate act of hope, came with the realization that true fulfillment doesn't come from external sources, but from within. Toriyama used the wishes granted by Shenron to guide the characters toward this understanding. While their desires were fulfilled, they were always reminded that true peace and happiness come not from wishes, but from the relationships and personal growth that shaped them along the way. The Dragon Balls were a powerful tool, but their greatest gift was the wisdom they imparted in those who sought them. Fact 91. The animation of Dragon Ball was a labor of love, with each episode carefully crafted by a team of passionate animators and artists. Toriyama's original manga, with its clean lines and expressive characters, served as the blueprint for the anime's visual style. However, adapting the manga into fluid animation required attention to every detail, from the movement of characters to the subtle shifts in the atmosphere. The animators sought to capture the same warmth and simplicity of Toriyama's artwork, balancing action with emotional depth, creating a world that felt as alive and vibrant as the story itself. Fact 92. The distinct visual style of Dragon Ball was heavily influenced by traditional Japanese animation techniques. Early animators focused on creating smooth, expressive movements that emphasized emotion and action equally. The dynamic fight scenes, a hallmark of the series, were designed with fluidity in mind, giving characters the freedom to move in ways that reflected both their power and personality. These moments of intense action were tempered by quieter, more reflective scenes, allowing the animation to carry the emotional weight of the story. This balance between action and calm became central to Dragon Ball's storytelling. Fact 93. The soundtrack of Dragon Ball played a pivotal role in setting the tone of the series. While the anime did not feature a constant background score, the music used during key moments, whether soft or intense, helped underscore the emotional beats of the story. The music was composed to reflect the underlying themes of each arc, enhancing moments of growth, friendship, and even tragedy. Toriyama's decision to incorporate more atmospheric music during quieter moments allowed for a more reflective viewing experience, showing that sometimes the most powerful scenes are those without a loud, dramatic score, only the sound of silence. Fact 94. The character designs in Dragon Ball evolved over time, with early versions of the characters looking simpler and softer compared to their later, more defined appearances. Toriyama's art style became more detailed as the series progressed, particularly with the introduction of the Saiyan saga. The characters' expressions became more exaggerated, reflecting their evolving personalities and the increasingly intense stakes of the story. The design of their clothing, hair, and facial features also evolved, with Goku's outfit and hair becoming iconic symbols of his journey, marking the passage of time and growth, both physically and emotionally. Fact 95. Voice acting was a crucial part of bringing Dragon Ball to life, and the casting process for each character was a thoughtful one. Toriyama wanted the voices to reflect the personality of each character, and the voice actors had to convey not just the emotions, but the subtle nuances of their roles. The original Japanese voice cast, led by Masako Nozawa as Goku, became synonymous with the characters they voiced. Their performances helped shape the emotional depth of the series, adding layers of warmth and humor to the characters, making them feel more relatable and real to the audience. Fact 96. The pacing of Dragon Ball was carefully structured to give the audience time to breathe between the action-packed sequences. Toriyama, while known for his detailed fight scenes, also understood the importance of quiet moments. These slower scenes, where characters reflected on their experiences, were integral to the emotional arc of the story. The pacing allowed viewers to connect with the characters on a deeper level, understanding their growth, their struggles, and their relationships. This balance between fast paced action and slower introspection helped make Dragon Ball a series that resonated both emotionally and visually. Fact 97. The decision to add humor to the Dragon Ball series was a deliberate choice to create contrast and relief from the intensity of the action. Toriyama blended light-hearted comedy with serious moments, giving the characters space to grow through laughter as well as struggle. The humorous scenes often revealed a softer side of the characters, allowing their personalities to shine through and making them feel more human. This playful energy was especially prominent in Goku's character, whose innocence and curiosity brought a touch of lightness to the series, even during its most intense moments. Fact 98. The popularity of Dragon Ball led to its rapid expansion across media, including films, video games, and merchandise. Toriyama's willingness to collaborate with different creative teams helped shape the various adaptations of the series, with each version maintaining the core emotional beats of the original manga and anime. The success of Dragon Ball helped establish the franchise as a global phenomenon, and the continued demand for new content has ensured its place in the cultural zeitgeist. Toriyama's original vision, which started as a simple story of adventure, transformed into a sprawling universe that continues to captivate audiences worldwide. Fact 99. The power levels concept, introduced in Dragon Ball Z, became a defining feature of the series, symbolizing the increasing stakes of each battle. While it started as a simple measure of strength, it evolved into a symbolic representation of the character's growth, both physically and emotionally. Toriyama used power levels to reflect the inner transformation of the characters, with each new level achieved representing not just an increase in strength, but a deeper understanding of self. The idea of power scaling became a cornerstone of the franchise, emphasizing the character's ability to push past their limits. Fact 100. The deep connection between Dragon Ball and its fans was built on the sincerity of the characters and their stories. Toriyama's approach to writing was always focused on the emotional journey of the characters, creating relatable struggles and triumphs that resonated with viewers. The connection between the characters, their evolution, and their internal conflicts created a sense of authenticity that fans could relate to on a personal level. This genuine emotional investment in the characters' journeys helped cement Dragon Ball's lasting appeal, allowing it to transcend cultural boundaries and become a beloved part of the global landscape. Fact 101. The Dragon Ball movies were an integral part of the franchise's expansion, offering fans a deeper look into the world beyond the main storylines. While the movies often featured alternate timelines or what-if scenarios, they maintained the series' core themes of friendship, growth, and self-discovery. These films allowed Toriyama and his team to explore new forms of creativity, experimenting with characters, settings, and battles that would not fit within the main continuity. Though the films were sometimes seen as non-canon, they still captured the same warmth and adventure that made Dragon Ball so beloved. Fact 102. The Dragon Ball Z TV specials, like The History of Trunks, became emotional touchstones for fans, offering deeper insights into the characters and their struggles. The History of Trunks gave viewers a glimpse into an alternate timeline, showing the heartbreaking consequences of Goku's death. It highlighted the pain of losing a loved one and the resilience needed to keep fighting, even in the face of despair. This special showcased the emotional depth of the series, providing a quieter, more introspective moment in the midst of its usual action packed adventures, offering fans a new perspective on familiar characters. Fact 103: the Dragon Ball movies introduced many characters that became fan favorites, including cooler versions of existing villains. For instance, the character of Cooler, Frieza's brother, was introduced in Dragon Ball Z, Cooler's Revenge, where he sought revenge against Goku. Cooler's presence added depth to the Dragon Ball universe, expanding the Saiyan mythology and providing another layer to Frieza's family history. His cold, calculating nature mirrored Frieza's own, but his story was explored differently, showing that even the most villainous characters had their own motives, challenges, and complex emotional undercurrents. Fact 104: the Dragon Ball Super movie, Dragon Ball Super Broly, brought back one of the most iconic and tragic characters in the franchise. Broly's story, once a product of a non canon film, was reimagined in Dragon Ball Super as a powerful force of nature, shaped by his tragic past and the manipulation of his father, Paragus. Toriyama revamped Broly's backstory, transforming him from a one dimensional villain into a complex character driven by grief and anger. This reinvention allowed fans to see a new side of Broly, turning him into a tragic yet sympathetic figure whose pain shaped his immense strength. Fact 105: the Dragon Ball special, Bardock, the father of Goku, explored the tragic story of Goku's father in his untold heroism. Bardock, a warrior of the Saiyan race, is depicted as a man who, despite being a soldier loyal to his people, begins to see the darkness in Frieza's rule and tries to warn his fellow Saiyans. His tragic death foreshadowed the destruction of his entire race, but it also revealed the emotional depth of the Saiyan legacy. Bardock's story added a layer of emotional weight to the series, showing that even in destruction, there could be a spark of hope. Fact 106: the Dragon Ball franchise has always explored alternate realities and timelines, expanding its storytelling in new and exciting ways. The Dragon Ball Z movie, The Tree of Might, introduced a different, more mystical form of villain in the form of Turles, who sought to create a new world by planting the powerful Tree of Might. This film allowed Toriyama to explore themes of nature's balance and the consequences of unchecked ambition, creating a story that was both action packed and emotionally resonant. The exploration of these alternate worlds reminded fans of the limitless possibilities within the Dragon Ball universe. Fact 107: in addition to the movies and specials, Dragon Ball has been expanded through video games that allow players to immerse themselves in the world even further. These games, including the Dragon Ball Z fighting game series, provided fans with the opportunity to experience iconic battles in real time, controlling their favorite characters and exploring the worlds of Dragon Ball in new ways. The video games became an extension of the series, allowing players to create their own stories and experience the same thrilling adventures that made the anime so beloved. Fact 108: the Dragon Ball franchise has a rich mythology that is often explored through its expanded media, with many characters and events appearing outside the main anime and manga. For example, the Dragon Ball Heroes arcade game and its promotional anime series introduced new characters and scenarios that were never part of the main storyline. These stories, while non canon, allowed fans to explore alternate versions of beloved characters and experience new adventures, keeping the Dragon Ball world fresh and exciting. The expanded universe added depth to the series, offering fans an ever growing world to explore. Fact 109: the Dragon Ball Z movies often contained elements that were used to push the boundaries of the series' storytelling, introducing concepts that would later become important parts of Dragon Ball Super. For instance, the character of Janemba from Dragon Ball Z Fusion Reborn represented an otherworldly force of chaos, bringing new ideas about the spiritual realms of the Dragon Ball universe. Janemba's otherworldly abilities challenged the Z Fighters in new ways, and his defeat by the fusion of Goku and Vegeta emphasized the theme of teamwork and self mastery that would become central to Dragon Ball Super. Fact 110: the Dragon Ball movies often explored themes of family and legacy, showing how the next generation of fighters inherited the lessons and values of their predecessors. In Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, Goku's growth as a fighter and person was directly tied to his family, as his son Goten and his wife Chi Chi played significant roles in motivating him. The movies often underscored the importance of family bonds, showing that strength comes not only from one's physical power, but also from the wholesome relationships built with others. These themes became even more prominent in Dragon Ball Super. Fact 111: Toriyama's design philosophy has always been rooted in simplicity. He preferred to create characters and worlds that were visually appealing without being overly complicated. His approach to design often involved focusing on essential details, expressive eyes, distinctive silhouettes, and colors that reflected the character's personality. Even the most intricate battle scenes were designed to maintain clarity and fluidity, ensuring that every movement was easy to follow. Toriyama's minimalist style allowed the story's emotional depth to shine, with each character's design acting as a visual cue to their underlying motivations, personalities, and growth throughout the series. Fact 112: a distinctive feature of Toriyama's art style is his use of exaggerated facial expressions to convey emotion. Whether it's Goku's wide-eyed wonder, Vegeta's intense scowl, or Piccolo's serene focus, Toriyama carefully crafted each character's facial expressions to reflect their inner thoughts and emotions. These expressions brought a sense of life and relatability to the characters, allowing viewers to connect with them on a deeper level. Toriyama understood that the face is often the first window into a character's soul, and he used this tool to guide the audience through the emotional journey of Dragon Ball. Fact 113: Toriyama's love for animals is evident in many of the creatures and designs seen in Dragon Ball. He often drew inspiration from real-life animals, using their characteristics to shape his imaginative creations. Characters like the talking animals in early Dragon Ball arcs and the various fantastical beasts encountered by Goku are all influenced by Toriyama's interest in nature. He was especially fond of drawing dinosaurs and prehistoric creatures, which can be seen throughout the series in both the designs of the Saiyan race and other mythical beasts, reflecting his appreciation for the wild world around him. Fact 114: incorporating humor into his designs was a key element of Toriyama's style. Characters like the mischievous Puar, the bumbling Uzuru, and even the once villainous Frieza had visual quirks that added a layer of humor to their personalities. Toriyama's ability to blend comedy with action made the series feel more balanced and less intense. These moments of levity helped humanize the characters, showing that even in a world of warriors and battles, there was always room for joy, laughter, and the occasional silly mishap. Humor in design helped keep the tone of Dragon Ball both dynamic and lighthearted. Fact 115: Toriyama often inserted small, playful Easter eggs into the Dragon Ball series, hiding subtle references to his previous works. For example, the character of Arale from Dr. Slump made numerous cameos in Dragon Ball, creating a connection between his two major works. Toriyama's love for visual gags and playful references also appeared in the form of background details, such as the hidden names of his friends or jokes about his own life. These small, thoughtful inclusions were a way for Toriyama to engage with his fans, offering them secret moments of recognition that made the series feel like a shared experience. Fact 116: One of the most iconic design features in Dragon Ball is the use of distinctive, easily recognizable clothing for each character. Goku's orange geese, Vegeta's blue battlesuit, and Frieza's regal armor are all integral to their identities. Toriyama chose simple, functional designs that emphasize the characters' personalities and roles in the story. For example, Goku's gi was both practical for battle and symbolic of his humble nature. Meanwhile, Vegeta's attire reflected his Saiyan heritage and royal pride. These designs became so iconic that they transcended the series, becoming instantly recognizable symbols of Dragon Ball worldwide. Fact 117: Toriyama's penchant for combining traditional Eastern and Western influences in his designs helped create the unique visual language of Dragon Ball. The series' characters often blend elements of martial arts, mythology, and fantasy, creating a world where East and West collide harmoniously. The exaggerated expressions, dynamic fight choreography, and even the architecture of certain settings drew inspiration from both cultures. Toriyama's ability to merge these influences seamlessly helped Dragon Ball appeal to a global audience, giving it a distinctive, universal appeal that transcended cultural boundaries while remaining deeply rooted in Japanese traditions. Fact 118: In early Dragon Ball manga, Toriyama would often add small comedic side notes in the margins, offering lighthearted commentary on the story or his creative process. These small asides allowed Toriyama to connect with his readers, offering a glimpse into his personality and sense of humor. He often referred to these as author's notes, where he would share amusing thoughts about the characters or even make fun of his own work. These personal touches gave the series a warm, approachable feeling, as if the readers were joining Toriyama on a journey of creation and discovery, full of laughter and surprises. Fact 119: Toriyama's use of paneling and pacing in Dragon Ball was integral to its storytelling. He understood that the flow of the manga needed to match the rhythm of the plot, with slower moments of reflection balanced against faster, more intense scenes of action. The strategic use of panel size, such as wide panels for grand moments and smaller, tighter panels for emotional dialogue, helped guide the reader's attention and set the tone for each scene. This pacing allowed Dragon Ball to breathe, giving readers time to digest the emotional moments while still delivering high energy battles. Fact 120: Toriyama often relied on visual storytelling to convey key plot points, using subtle changes in character design to indicate shifts in personality or growth. For example, the gradual change in Goku's hair from a wild, untamed mess to a more controlled style reflected his evolution from innocent child to powerful hero. Similarly, The transformation of Vegeta's armor and posture symbolized his emotional development, from proud prince to dedicated ally. These visual cues added an extra layer of depth to the characters, showing that their internal growth was just as important as their external battles. Fact 121: Dragon Ball Super marked a new era for the Dragon Ball franchise, expanding the universe with fresh storylines, powerful new characters, and deeper exploration of its mythos. Toriyama's decision to revisit the series was driven by a desire to explore the limitless potential of the Dragon Ball world. The introduction of the multiverse, with its various gods and alternate timelines, added layers of complexity to the established narrative. Through Dragon Ball Super, Toriyama took the universe he had built and pushed it to new heights, offering fans a richer, more expansive world while staying true to its core themes of hope and strength. Fact 122: The Tournament of Power, one of the central arcs in Dragon Ball Super, brought together fighters from across the multiverse, introducing characters with new powers, techniques, and motivations. This arc was about more than just strength. It was about survival, unity, and the consequences of unchecked ambition. Goku's role as a catalyst for change remained central, with his willingness to challenge even the gods. The Tournament of Power was a reflection of the series' growth, as it expanded beyond the boundaries of the original series, raising the stakes and bringing a fresh sense of excitement and camaraderie. Fact 123: Ultra Instinct, one of the most powerful transformations introduced in Dragon Ball Super, was a manifestation of Goku's ultimate mastery over his body and mind. Toriyama's decision to introduce this form was influenced by his desire to show Goku's growth beyond simple physical strength. Ultra Instinct represented a state of complete mental clarity and instinctual movement, where Goku could fight without conscious thought, relying on pure reflex. This form symbolized Goku's journey toward self mastery, a quiet evolution that blended both spiritual and physical strength, teaching viewers that true power is found in inner peace. Fact 124: The introduction of the gods in Dragon Ball Super, such as Beerus, the god of destruction, and Whis, his angelic attendant, added a cosmic layer to the series. Toriyama used these characters to explore the idea of balance in the universe, where destruction and creation were two sides of the same coin. Beerus, despite his destructive nature, was not purely evil, but a being who acted out of necessity. His relationship with Goku and the other Z fighters highlighted the theme that power, when wielded responsibly, could be a force for both creation and preservation. Fact 125: In Dragon Ball Super, the introduction of new transformations, like Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, brought more depth to the Saiyan legacy. Vegeta's path to mastering this form reflected his character's internal growth. Unlike Goku, who achieved new forms through moments of emotional release, Vegeta's evolution was a quiet, introspective journey. His blue evolution form showed that his power was born from inner determination and a deep connection to his family and friends. This transformation was a visual representation of his growth, both as a fighter and as a person, driven by his own sense of responsibility. Fact 126: The exploration of the multiverse in Dragon Ball Super brought forth new realms of storytelling and new characters, including the gods of destruction from different universes. These characters were not just powerful, they represented different philosophical beliefs and ways of governing the universe. Toriyama used these gods to introduce the concept that there are multiple paths to understanding and achieving balance in the cosmos. The multiverse expanded Dragon Ball's scope, giving it an epic quality while allowing fans to see different aspects of the universe's vastness, each with its own unique challenges and conflicts. Fact 127. The power scaling in Dragon Ball Super became more intricate, with new forms and transformations creating new possibilities for battles. However, Toriyama maintained his focus on the emotional stakes of these battles. While the power levels continued to grow, the heart of each fight remained rooted in the characters' personal journeys. Dragon Ball Super wasn't just about the power ups, it was about how each battle pushed the characters to grow, to overcome their limits, and to face their fears. Toriyama showed that true strength doesn't lie in a number, but in the heart's capacity to endure and evolve. Fact 128. Dragon Ball Super also delved deeper into the characters' pasts, offering more insights into their motivations and backgrounds. Goku's relationship with his family was explored in greater depth, showing how his connections with Chi-Chi and Goten shaped his decisions. Vegeta's family dynamic with Bulma and Trunks added new layers to his character, emphasizing his growth from a warrior bent on destruction to a devoted father and husband. These emotional moments were a reminder that the true heart of Dragon Ball lay not in the battles, but in the bonds between its characters. Fact 129. The inclusion of the Dragon Ball. Super Movie Broly marked a significant turning point in the Dragon Ball narrative. Broly, once a non-canon character, was reintroduced with a deeper backstory and a tragic, more relatable motivation. Toriyama reimagined Broly as a character driven by immense power and emotional pain, forced into conflict with Goku and Vegeta. His story was one of isolation, manipulation, and loss, resonating with themes of redemption. Dragon Ball Super. Broly emphasized that even the fiercest warriors are shaped by their pasts, and the film's emotional depth added complexity to Broly's character. Fact 130. The Dragon Ball Super series redefined the concept of villains by introducing characters who were not purely evil but morally complex. Characters like Zamasu and Black Goku challenged the idea of absolute good versus evil, making the battles more philosophical than ever. Zamasu, with his belief in the superiority of gods, and Black Goku, with his twisted sense of justice, posed questions about power, morality, and the cost of ideals. Their inclusion in the story showed that Dragon Ball was evolving beyond physical battles into deeper, more introspective conflicts that explored the consequences of unchecked ambition and the pursuit of perfection. Fact 131. Dragon Ball's influence on popular culture is immeasurable, with the series leaving a lasting impact on everything from animation to music, fashion, and language. The phrase, "It's over 9,000, became an iconic meme, and Goku's image is now synonymous with strength, perseverance, and the pursuit of excellence. Toriyama's work inspired a generation of artists, writers, and creators who grew up watching the series, leading to an entire genre of anime influenced by Dragon Ball's storytelling and visual style. Its legacy continues to resonate in every corner of the entertainment world, even decades after its debut. Fact 132. The Dragon Ball series introduced a unique blend of humor, adventure, and deep emotional themes, making it accessible to fans of all ages. Toriyama's ability to mix light-hearted moments with intense action, all while maintaining emotional depth, created a formula that appealed to both children and adults. As a result, Dragon Ball became more than just a cartoon or manga. It became a shared experience for fans around the world. This balance between comedy and serious storytelling set Dragon Ball apart from other anime, helping it grow into a cultural touchstone that still influences contemporary media. Fact 133. The global success of Dragon Ball helped to shape the landscape of anime in the West, making it one of the first series to break into mainstream American pop culture. In the 1990s, Dragon Ball Z was introduced to audiences on TV networks like Toonami, becoming a gateway for many fans to explore other anime series. Its popularity helped fuel the growth of the anime industry outside Japan, leading to the rise of conventions, fan communities, and a renewed interest in Japanese animation. Dragon Ball's success played a key role in making anime a global phenomenon. Fact 134. Dragon Ball not only influenced anime, but also had a significant impact on the video game industry. The franchise's first video games, based on the original Dragon Ball manga and Dragon Ball Z, became early benchmarks for fighting games, paving the way for the success of the Dragons, Ball Z Budokai, and Xenoverse series. These games allowed fans to immerse themselves in the world of Dragon Ball, bringing the action and characters to life in ways that felt interactive and engaging. The video games expanded Dragon Ball's universe, creating a lasting connection between fans and the series. Fact 135. The Dragon Ball franchise has been a major influence on the world of cosplay, with fans dressing up as their favorite characters for conventions, parties, and online communities. Goku's iconic orange GI, Vegeta's armor, and other distinct outfits became staples of cosplay culture. The ease of recognizing Dragon Ball's characters, thanks to their iconic designs, helped the series gain a strong presence in fan communities. Cosplay provided a way for fans to express their love for Dragon Ball, allowing them to embody their favorite characters and participate in the global celebration of the franchise. Fact 136. Dragon Ball's legacy is not just in its impact on pop culture, but also in the way it influenced the anime industry itself. Toriyama's unique blend of action, humor, and character development set the stage for future anime series, with many drawing inspiration from Dragon Ball's themes of perseverance, growth, and friendship. Series like Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach all adopted elements from Dragon Ball, whether it was the power-up transformations, the focus on camaraderie, or the epic battle sequences. Dragon Ball's success solidified its place as one of the foundational pillars of modern anime. At 137, the deep emotional connections that fans have with the characters of Dragon Ball are a testament to Toriyama's storytelling abilities. Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and the rest of the Z fighters became more than just fictional characters. They became symbols of hope, perseverance, and personal growth. Fans saw themselves reflected in the struggles and triumphs of the characters, making Dragon Ball a source of inspiration for many. The series showed that no matter the challenges one faces, strength comes from within and from the bonds we share with those who support us, making its lessons universally relatable. Fact 138. The influence of Dragon Ball extends beyond entertainment and into sports, where its themes of personal growth and surpassing limits resonate deeply with athletes. Goku's constant drive to push beyond his limits and become stronger inspired many fans to adopt a similar mindset in their own lives. Whether through training regimens or the pursuit of excellence, Dragon Ball's emphasis on resilience and self improvement found a home in sports culture. Goku's journey became a metaphor for the determination and persistence required to overcome obstacles, helping to fuel the competitive spirit in fans and athletes alike. Fact 139. The Dragon Ball series has inspired countless fan created works, including art, music, fan fiction, and more. Fans have used their creativity to expand upon Toriyama's universe, often crafting their own stories, art styles, and interpretations of the characters. This fan driven creativity has helped keep the Dragon Ball legacy alive, even as the official series continues to evolve. These fan works serve as a celebration of the franchise, reflecting how deeply Dragon Ball has touched the hearts of fans worldwide. It's a reminder that the series continues to inspire new generations of creators, allowing the legacy to live on. Fact 140. The continuing success of Dragon Ball is a testament to the timeless appeal of Toriyama's storytelling. What began as a simple tale of adventure and self discovery has grown into a cultural phenomenon that spans generations and continues to evolve. Dragon Ball's ability to combine heart, humor, and high stakes action has ensured its place in the hearts of millions of fans worldwide. Whether through anime, manga, movies, video games, or fan creations, the franchise has left an indelible mark on pop culture. The journey of Goku and his friends continues to inspire, reminding us all of the power of perseverance, hope, and friendship. Thank you for drifting with me through the world of Dragon Ball, where adventure, heart, and strength blend into a universe that has inspired millions. May the stories of Goku, Vegeta, and the Z Fighters remind you that no matter how difficult the journey, there is always a path forward filled with hope, growth, and the bonds that tie us together. As you settle into rest, let the lessons of perseverance and friendship guide you toward peaceful dreams, knowing that, like our heroes, you too have the strength to face whatever challenges come your way. Good night.